In honor of this epic t-shirt that CK got me, here's my question to you guys. Who do you think wins? Guts with the Beserker armor or Mephisto from the Marvel Universe? I was actually pleasantly surprised seeing Borat enter the Marvel Universe. I always thought Sasha would make a good villain. I think it's a closer matchup than one would think. Guts technically only being human versus basically Marvel's version of the devil. You would think Mephisto would win. But I don't know if they would go one on one like that. If you look at how Guts usually faces off against people in Berserker, it's not always just rage filled one on ones. There's a lot of politics behind a lot of the steps that are taken with him and his friends and even with his enemies. A lot of pacts are made. But Guts ultimately does always end up in the 1v1. So let's say they circumnavigate all the drama, all the manipulation, and they end up in a 1v1 situation. Well, I'd say the location determines that. If it's Earth, and we're going by the comic book version of Mephisto, I would say Guts stands a pretty good chance. Him in his Beserker armor is something insane. Like, literally, he goes and attacks and bullies the biggest, baddest monsters out there. And the armor, as far as I can understand, can kind of deflect telekinesis or demon telekinesis. Also, don't forget, when you boil Guts down to his most primal instinct, he is a beast inside. Like, there's no backing down for this guy. He would attack Mephisto relentlessly. And he's faced demons that have similar level threats as Mephisto, and he survived. I honestly think Guts could get it done. If you look at the anime, I mean, the things he does, he shouldn't be able to do. By the way, just a warning, if you're not familiar with Guts or Berserker, do not watch it if you can't handle violence. It's very, very violent. In my opinion, it's in the top 20 most violent animes of all time. Guts' rage can carry him through. Prior to getting the Beserker armor, he's kind of like the Batman of that universe. He starts to accumulate all these little gadgets and potions, and even though, yes, he has got his behind handed to him by so many villains, there's potential for him to do it. He could get the job done, especially if he has prep time. Now, if it takes place in Hell, that's a whole different story. I don't know what Marvel's long-term plan is, but usually if you kill Mephisto in this version of Earth, he just goes back to Hell and regenerates. This version of him is more like an avatar, and he's linked to his source being, which is in Hell, and where he draws all his power from. And I can imagine Guts would end up in a scenario where he becomes imprisoned for like 100 years in Hell or something like that, and it just makes him more and more insane. But with the Beserker armor that's infused in magic and created by elves and helps you regenerate yourself, it doesn't take care of blood loss though. You do need proper rest after battle. But whilst he's wearing it in battle, I think if he's fighting Mephisto on Earth, he'd definitely be a threat to him. What do you guys think? Let me know.
정말 감사합니다.